Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Season 5, Episode 13 of the phenomenon known to all as Saturday afternoon's main event. Unfortunately, if you do not know who I am and you can't read tickers at the bottom, I suggest you go back to school, find the biggest dictionary you can find, preferably Merriam-Webster, and look me up under the word phenomenal. Ladies and gentlemen, it is I, the phenomenal one. And of course, here on Saturday afternoon's main event, I'm not joined alone, because joined by me is my co-host, the limousine riding, jet flying, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, son of a gun who is not having a hard time holding his alligators down. Now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, give me 2 claps and a peep snatch.
Woo! Yes, sir.
There we go.
I'm here. Nice clear throat. I have the projection of the voice. Deep voice dynamo is here. Here with my partner once again, another Saturday where we're going to talk about literally all that there is that needs to be talked about in the world of pro wrestling. Not sports entertainment, which I'm pretty sure we will get to, but the broader category.
Of course. So if the Jericho Appreciation Society is watching, please allow us to just go ahead and do our job. Don't hate. I'm just saying.
Appreciate.
There we go.
You see what I did there, right?
Or should I say peeps? Acknowledge. Let me stop. I digress. First one of the show. We haven't even gotten into the topics. That tells you enough. Enough.
There's number 30. That's number 31 for the year so far. Go figure. We're piling them up.
What are the odds? What are the odds?
Yes.
Okay. So from there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we just wanted to go ahead and say thank you for going ahead and tuning in today. Of course, there's so much that Peeps just said that we are going to be going ahead and covering. So look, without further ado, let's just go ahead and get right into it, shall we? All right. Hold on. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, you know that when you hear that sound, that means there's one thing and one thing only happening here on Saturday afternoon's main event. It is Fast Track.
Let's do it.
First topic of today, Drew McIntyre. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, if you've been following with the outskirts of pro wrestling, then you would know that Drew McIntyre is unhappy with the WWE. Not only is he unhappy. There we go. Yeah, that's exactly what people are saying. Like, Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah.
2-time world champion Drew McIntyre.
Yes, when he was going by his real name of Drew Galloway. Yeah.
The chosen one.
Yes. Yes.
Here's the thing, guys. So what we're hearing is that Drew's unhappy with his contract. He wants to go ahead and get a better contract. WWE's just not wanting it. They don't want to hear it. Drew's unhappy. Drew wants to leave. But now, for some reason, things have skyrocketed to the point where now it's kind of overflowing. And it seems like, from what the IWC is saying, there is a chance, a subliminal chance, that Drew McIntyre will leave WWE and later in the fall appear for AEW and sign with a company and be there at All In at Wembley. Peeps, listen, as much as I don't listen to the IWC, but of course, this is Drew McIntyre we're talking about. The potential. Yeah. I mean, he just put on a banger meat slapping match at WrestleMania against Sheamus and Gunther. You're kidding me, right? What is there to say about this? Because I want to hear your take.
I think what we're hearing right now is the regret of the way that the WWE booked Drew so strong over the last, say, 18 months.
Yeah.
Because obviously he's deserved it. And they've given him the control as far as what they can use him in, and it has paid off. We've invested so much in Drew McIntyre, and they've gone from main event at WrestleMania, being a champion, getting a chance to go to Cardiff, Wales, and main event that show with Roman Reigns and get a championship match where personally, if they were going to take the belt off of Roman, that would have been a perfect time to do it. But they didn't. And they kind of kept him either at mid-card, upper mid-card status or just below main event status with the occasional main event on a Raw or maybe on another show. Definitely he's main evented house shows because we know he's got that kind of talent.
Of course.
Here's the problem. The problem is you've got all the championships on one guy. And for whatever the foreseeable future is, they're not taking the belts off of Roman Reigns. So whatever the plans are, kind of, I wouldn't say spit in the face of Drew McIntyre, but there's a lot of push in one way and there's no give in the other way. And I think what we're starting to see now is that Drew is kind of almost hitting that ceiling where am I going to go from here? I've won the WWE Championship twice. I've main evented WrestleMania. I've won just about every belt in the company. What else is there to do? Now, Drew, if I'm not mistaken, I think he's 42, 43. And he's a situation where he still can physically be a main event guy. Thing is the WWE going to push him in that direction? And what else are they going to do with him? And his presentation and what they plan on doing with him, I think, is the key things that they're looking at. Plus, his pay, based on what kind of person, what kind of main eventer he has been, his contributions to the WWE, and as you saw, part of, as far as I'm concerned, the best match of the entire WrestleMania weekend in my eyes.
Yes.
He's looking at it in that sense and wondering, well, what about me? Not to sound like Raven. What about me? What about Drew? What about me? I don't think it's like that, but he has a legitimate point, and we'll see where they go from here negotiation-wise.
Understand. So all hope to go ahead and see Drew McIntyre still here in the WWE, but without all that, let's go ahead and get into the next topic. Still in the world of WWE, Shinsuke is back. Ladies and gentlemen, the king of strong style is back on SmackDown.
Yes.
Just had a match, and presumably against Madcap Moss in what seemed to be a squash. I suppose that they're First off, who puts a face against a face? That's one thing. Second thing, really, look, if you're going to go ahead and bring Shinsuke back in the brightest extent, what you could have done is the same thing that you did with Karrion Kross when he came back, is somehow kind of like seemed like he inserted himself in, the main event title picture. But no, they don't do that. But, I digress. Second one of tonight. There we go. We're just with it today, guys. But look, peeps, Shinsuke had an interview backstage, kind of came up on YouTube today, and he says that after going ahead and facing the Great Muta in Japan, or being alongside him, he is now wanting to come back to the WWE and focus on winning a world title. Peeps, how do you fail it back at WrestleMania 34, and now you think that Shinsuke's getting a title shot? Peeps,
you see what I'm doing.
I hate to say it. But before I say it, let me just go ahead and transfer this over to you, because I'm not trying to go ahead and break any world records on I Digresses today. You can listen, floor is yours.
I do not understand it. For all of the positive things that we've said about WWE, for all of the good things that they have done, with the exception of the huge hiccup from the sale, and then the absolute debacle that was Monday Night Raw last week. And all of the subsequent players that are involved in the WWE as far as certain wrestlers, because we know you can't utilize every wrestler.
Of course.
So we have Shinsuke go to New Japan and have, as far as I'm concerned, the best way that you can have a tribute to be involved in the final match of the great Muta. As far as I'm concerned, is the greatest Japanese wrestler I have ever seen. And I've looked at a lot of Japanese wrestling over the years. And to have Shinsuke Nakamura, King of Strong Style, have, without question, suffer from what I call the Kane push-pull system. And the reason why I say that is, when Kane was at his prime, you would see the WWE push him to the moon. And then he would get to a certain level and then they pull him right back. And then 6 months goes by, they put him in some stupid tag team, or they'll put him in a stupid gimmick, or they'll put him in another dumb feud. And then all of a sudden they realize, we do have a monster here. Let's push him again. And then they give him another 2-month, 3-month push. And then they realize this push isn't going anywhere. Let's pull him back. They're doing the same thing with Shinsuke. And this goes back to that match that Shinsuke had years ago with John Cena on SmackDown, where he literally tried to rearrange his neck with that back suplex. And his relationship with the WWE hasn't really seemed to be the same since. And now you put him in his return after being off of TV for months and months on end. And this is what they do. They put him in a ring with Madcap Moss, who is, as much as I really enjoy watching Madcap, is probably the single most generic creator wrestler this side of 2K. And they've done nothing with Madcap since his split with Baron Corbin. And they stuck him with Emma, and that hasn't seemingly done too much. And I think what they need to do with, first of all, with Madcap, I think that he needs to come off of TV for a little bit and then they find a personality for him. Because in the ring, he's good. His whatever personality, he's so generic. And I think that's hurting him. As far as Shinsuke, what they're doing with him makes zero sense to me. And what they run the risk of is alienating him even more from not only his fans, but the actual fans that watch him, and then they'll turn on him. And the last thing that they need is to turn on such a great talent like Shinsuke. They're doing wrong by him as far as I'm concerned. Hopefully, this is the beginning of something much more positive than what we've seen as of late, because Shinsuke he's been bereft of any positive push since WrestleMania last year. And look at where we're at now. So WWE, get it together. Shinsuke is a star. Get it together.
Exactly.
And I'll leave
right.
it there.
Exactly right. Now we go to the world of All Elite Wrestling. Jeff Hardy has made his return. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and catapult this real quick, okay?
Okay.
Last year, Jeff Hardy seemingly left the WWE in the sense of, okay, walked out of a show, packed his bag, took his ball, went home. Seemingly left the company after. Went to AEW, teamed with his brother Matt. Then subsequently had to go ahead and face some more demons. Ends up going ahead and taking a short break. Pictures of him fluttering in online. You're thinking to yourself, okay, maybe he's doing better. Maybe soon and very soon he might go ahead and come back. And out of the blue, out of nowhere, you're watching Dynamite this past Wednesday and you're sitting there and you're just like, what the heck just happened? Jeff Hardy, ladies and gentlemen, is back with AEW. Now, peeps, look, you already know, I'm always happy to see Jeff back. But do you think there is a difference to come out of this? Something different. Do you suspect it?
No. I mean, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. This is where I will reside with Jeff Hardy. We know his legal troubles kept him off of TV, which also gave him a chance to heal based on the fact he is literally a walking mash unit. back injury, knee injury, arm injury, shoulder injury. He just has so many injuries because all of the things that he has done in his 20 years in the ring. I can't believe I'm saying that. Jeff Hardy, over 20 years in the ring.
Who would have thought?
Yeah. Who would have thought he would have lasted this long with all of the recklessness that he's done to himself, not just out of the ring, but just his in-ring style.
Like, peeps, how long we're talking here? Like, what, 93, 94?
If we're going
30 years.
Yeah, you're right. Because he and his brother started as teenagers on the independents before they kind of brought themselves up and got the attention of the WWE and got that.
Forget that Rachel squash match.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's been a long time. Wow.
Yes. But if you think about it, the real reason why Jeff was off of TV, as we know, was because of his legal issues, because he has a disease, which is alcoholism and drugs. We know that he's gone through this. He's documented this many times in the past, and he and his legal issues, he was actually looking at potential jail time. That's how serious this was. And my thought process was always, he does not need wrestling right now. He needed to get his priorities in order as far as getting himself healthy, because he has a little daughter, he's married, he needs to be able to be there for his family. And not necessarily for us, the fans. He's done enough for the fans. And I believe he's done enough for his brother in ring. So that part could have stayed to the side. We also found out recently that he had some sort of eye surgery over the last couple of months or whatever. And I know that Matt Hardy kind of name dropped that in a podcast or an interview within the last weekend or two, that, you know, he was healing and talked about he'll be off of TV for another 6 to 8 weeks. We know he was kayfabing and working the fans for the eventual reveal of Jeff Hardy. And the Hardys reuniting for maybe that one last hurrah, that one last push, kind of to give the Hardys their flowers, is where they're at right now with Jeff Hardy. I think if this is done right, if Jeff can keep himself focused and stay away from the periphery of the things that can go off the rails, then this could be a very good 6 to 8 month run if he's healthy enough to be able to do that. Let's see where they go from there. But I don't want to go too negative on it, but I also don't want to set myself up for disappointment, if you understand where I'm coming from.
Of course. I can most definitely understand you. Taekwon's in the chat. Taekwon says this, and oh God, what? Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, you know, listen, we have friendly banter here. It's always dark humor, but, you know, I think I just have to. Taekwon says, Swang Ton Bong.
Oh, boy.
Inmates. Hey,
boy, he is in WrestleMania form, isn't he?
Inmates. Hey, Jeff, do a twist of fate. Jeff Hardy is the reason why Dr. Dre hasn't released Detox.
Wow.
But peeps, look, he said in all seriousness though, I'm glad Jeff is back. Of course.
Yes.
We all are.
I think a lot of the fans are happy to see him somewhat healthy, as far as, you know, once he did the Swanton, I was like, oh boy, here goes his back.
Here we go.
Here goes his hip. Because he does it all the time. He reminds me a lot of Mick Foley late in his career, when Foley was 38, 39, and he was walking around like he was 60. Like, wow, that is what all that punishment does to a human body. And Jeff literally puts himself in so much peril. Like, you remember I believe it was an Impact, when he did the Swanton and he missed, it fell off the cage and went into the steel steps. Everybody thought, oh boy, he's gone, he's hurt. Those are the kinds of things that I worry about. So let's hope that he can stay as good as he can be, and he has a support system around him, and they don't do too much to get him off of the rails, and he can give the wrestling fans, I think, this last kind of push to give Jeff and Matt as a tag team their flowers to what they deserve.
Of course, most definitely. So all hope to Jeff Hardy and Matt, and let's see how this whole story ends. But of course, we move back into the world of WWE. What's up with the women's division at WWE? Peeps, look, all I'm going to say, if you watch this past Monday Night on Raw, you would know that Trish Stratus did the most unkept secret of going ahead and turning on Becky Lynch, because I noticed the minute that Lita went ahead and went down, I said to myself, yup, this is Trish's heel turn. I wanted it to be since Mania, because I thought that, you know, Lita, Becky, and Trish were going to go ahead and lose, and Trish would have went ahead and done that. You know, we had to wait. And Monday, yeah, it happened.
Yes.
But aside from all of that, the whole women's division is just, Beeps, you take this one.
It seems like all of the positivity that we've heaped on the women's division has all been put into an air fryer and literally turned into a crisp. I have no idea what's going on with the women's division, because in some aspects, we have really great positive things to look at. Rhea Ripley being, as far as I'm concerned, the top of that whole thing. And just at the same level as Bianca Belair. They're obviously both the two champions in the company. So the focus is on those two. But then you have both of them at the top, and then you have everyone else. Like, what are they doing? What is the focus that they want for the women's division? Are we here to talk about the women's division in the sense that we have great athletes that can wrestle, that can go? Okay, fine. You got a check mark there. Are we giving the women's division a compelling storyline that is either overarching toward Raw and SmackDown? Or are we going to give them one or several of them a storyline that is contained within that particular show? We don't know, because the direction seems to be all over the place. Like what they're doing with Sonya Deville. Sonya Deville has not won any matches in months. As a matter of fact, they did a women's qualifying match for that WrestleMania thing. Prior to that, she hadn't had a victory since January, I think. Yep. Asuka, who, as far as I'm concerned, one of the great talents in all of WWE, and she has not won a WrestleMania match since she's been in the company. She's 0-5. 0-4 in singles matches, and if you want to count that WrestleMania Battle Royal pre-show thing that they did that she didn't win that one, she's 0-5 at WrestleMania. I have no idea what they're doing with Asuka. The build for Asuka's match with Bianca, as we've talked about ad nauseum, was very ho-hum, but the match at WrestleMania was really good. What have they done with Bayley? What have they done with Damage Control? I think the WWE is actually doing Damage Control now over what's going on in the women's division. Because Bayley,
not to mention one person. Hot Rod pointed it out.
Yes. Lacey Evans. This is, what did I say about 5 minutes ago about the push-pull system? They are absolutely, it seems to me, from the outside looking in, that this company doesn't know what to do with Lacey Evans. I can't even call her a wild card, because I don't even know what they're planning with her. At first, she was the Southern Belle. Then they changed up her character and played up what her military background is. And she's married, she has a kid, and she was in the military, and she's a strong military. We know how this country loves a military story, especially when it's attached to a wrestler. We know what happened with Sergeant Slaughter and Corporal Kirshner and so many others that have been in wrestling that have been connected with the service. So you have that. Then they go ahead and do that. They put her on TV, they take her off. Then they bring her back, they make her a heel. They use her for a couple matches, they take her back off TV. They bring her to a premium live event, then they don't use her. What are they doing? This, with Damage Control, they had a chance. And even though Damage Control ran for a good 6-7 months, they had a real good chance at making a legitimate faction in the women's division feared and make them seem important. And what we got were Kai and Sky winning the tag team belts only to lose them. And Bayley, who's supposed to be the mouthpiece of the group, not win any championship since she's been here from her torn ACL. She was off of television for about 10 months. Bring her back last year. And from that point on, Bayley, let's really be honest, has done nothing.
Nope.
The women's division is all over the place, and it seems that they've lost the focus as what they need to do to get this women's division back on track. And the booking of Bianca Belair is almost on cruise control because right now she can't be beaten. And that's not a knock on her. She's just that good. But my God, give us somebody that's legitimately somebody that is a threat, a focused threat. What are they doing? And then the heel turn with Trish was absolutely, it was badly done. It came out of nowhere, and the match was not good at all. And I give credit to the commentary team because they called it, well, Trish has never teamed up with Becky Lynch, so their timing is going to be off. That's what you do. That's how professionals call mistakes. But in general, the women's division is all over the place. It's like somebody grabbed a handful of Pop Rocks and threw it in some soda and told somebody to drink it. It's exploding everywhere. What are you going to do?
Lord have mercy. Lord have
Yes.
mercy. Guys, get your stuff right. Please.
Yes.
The
women's division deserves much better than what we're getting right now.
Exactly. So let's hope it gets fixed. Because you see, even Taekwon says this. WWE is using Chat GPT to book the women's division. The division has burned harder than Richard Pryor in 1980.
Wow. I'm not going to go there, but
Lawrence Taylor has more Mania than wins than Oscar. And I wasn't satisfied on Monday. Look,
I don't think his sentiment is exclusively his. I think a lot of people think that way.
No, of course.
When they had the chance to do something with Trish, when they were in Toronto, if they were going to tease something, they could have done it then, so that it would make much more sense. And then what they could have done, they could have added Trish to Damage Control to kind of bolster the name. Imagine that.
WrestleMania.
There you go. That makes sense. I'm booking on the fly here. You know, where's my 5 cents? Where's my 5 cents?
Peeps, do we just have to go ahead and apply to creative? I mean, guys, do you want to see us go to creative? Because I mean, if you want us to see us apply to creative, I might as well just do that. You know, like
yes.
Let's just make it work. You know.
Yes.
From there. Last piece of Fast Track today. Cody wants who? Who? Bobby who?
Who?
Ladies and gentlemen. This past Monday night, Cody Rhodes dropped a preach sermon-like promo.
Yes.
And in it, this man name-dropped Brock Lesnar. And if I remember correctly, his words in that promo towards the end was this. When Brock looks in the mirror, does he see every other person as a potential victim? You know what? At the end of the day, when Brock looks into the mirror, I want him to see a victim. Not his victim, he's my victim. I want Brock Lesnar at Backlash.
Yes.
Peeps.
Yes.
Listen. As a grown African-American being who is about 20 years old, and you being an African-American being himself, listen, here before the dawn of the dinosaurs.
Yes,
okay?
I am Jurassic.
No offense, peeps. But look,
yes.
If I'm just being honest here.
Yeah.
Cody Rhodes, all jokes aside, Cody Rhodes is the first black man to have that much cojones. Because who in the blue hell is sizing up to Brock Lesnar like this? This is really like, whoa.
Yes.
Like, Cody wants Brock. Cody admits that he wants Brock, and he said that he's afraid of Brock.
Yes.
But he doesn't care. He's afraid enough to fight Brock.
Yes.
Yeah, Cody was having a little bit too much of the Snoop Dogg flowers. Listen.
Yes.
Listen, I think Snoop just implanted a little bit too much from him during Mania before the match. Probably that's why he lost. But I mean, now he's probably using it. Oh my gosh.
He was empowered by that elbow. That's what I think happened.
There you go.
There you go.
Peeps. But before we continue, I'm so sorry. Taekwon says this. Don't take offense to him. You know, he's our fan. He's been here for the longest time. Yes. Taekwon says this. Peeps' prom date was the Virgin Mary.
And a very good date she was. Very polite. It was all about the stars. Always talking about mangers and books. That kind
So
of
I
thing.
guess
Yes.
Joseph was talking about you when it came to the point of him going. God, you know what? Let's not.
Yes, yes.
Oh gosh. This is something else, guys. I
Yeah.
can't with you guys today. But this is gonna go ahead and go into the question that I was gonna ask Peeps, and Hot Rod said this: would it hurt Cody if he loses to Brock at Backlash? Peeps, what do you think?
Okay. The reason why it would hurt is because he's coming off of this big build to WrestleMania.
Yes.
You've had, for the better part of, outside of the Seth Rollins feud, which I wouldn't say ended, but kind of was put on hold to move him into the main event at WrestleMania after the Royal Rumble. After that, he lost the main event, and he got punked the night after. And obviously, I'm thinking Cody is going to have at least a couple more matches between now and Backlash. So if he goes in and he gets beaten by Brock, although it wouldn't be a shock if somebody the size and caliber of Brock Lesnar was to beat Cody senseless and win. But we're talking about, if we're going to keep Cody fresh in the minds of the fans, that he is trying to ultimately continue his story against Roman Reigns, and he's going to win that championship. At some point, he's going to have to face a little bit of adversity, but at some point, he's going to have to win. If this is just one match, or if it's a couple of matches with Brock, and get that signature victory outside of Rome, outside of Seth, before he gets to Roman. And a signature victory to hang his hat on would be to beat the Canadian Cowboy, if you want to call him that, since he's hanging in Saskatoon or Saskatchewan or wherever in Canada.
Saskatchewan Destroyer himself.
Yes, exactly. So if you're going to do that, he needs this as a signature victory. And I think the WWE has done a great job in holding at bay the what chance for somebody that hasn't won. Because this babyface persona, for a lot of today's fans, can get old very quick. So they've done a great job in making sure that the fans are still engaged with this entire face push, this milquetoast baby face, but with a Dusty Rhodes American Dream kind of icing on it. And that's kind of what they've done. And they've done a great job with it. But they run the risk, if they don't get a payoff out of this soon, it'll run its course, and then they won't be able to come back from it. We don't want to have what happened to Cody in AEW happen here.
Of course not. And I mean, if Cody, look, this is what I'm saying. Cody, they always trying to keep a brother down. If Cody loses, we're marching down to Stanford. Listen. Holding it on strike, picket lines, why not?
Yes.
Peeps. This has to happen. Listen, if he loses to Brock, although I do think he is going to lose to Brock, because if we're looking at it from the perspective of what they're doing with Cody, you're thinking back to 2012 John Cena after losing to The Rock.
That's sick.
He's going to have to go through a lot. And I think this is like the first way down the line. And of course, Cena started with Brock. It's only right that Cody starts with Brock.
Yeah.
You go ahead and have him start with Hardik right down at the bottom, because he's going to hit rock bottom after this. And I do think that if we're going to Backlash, before Backlash, there's going to be some stipulation to be announced. It might be no holds barred. It might be no disqualifications. It might be inside a steel cage. Who knows? Extreme rules. I don't know what they're going to do. But I feel as if there's going to be some stipulation that applies implication that Cody's going to be injured. Cody's going to Cody's going to lose badly. And if he loses,
he's going to suffer from a hangnail. Oh, I couldn't dream a toenail fell off, baby.
You know something? Somehow Vince comes back, gets to the creative, calls out Michael Cole and tells Michael Cole to say this, and I quote, Cody Rhodes has a ruptured disc and a ruptured hernia and has been taken to a local medical facility.
Yes.
God forbid, but this is what we've come to, because I really do feel that that's what it's going to be. But Taekwon says Cody gets gout before the match.
Oh boy.
Oh man. But you see what I'm saying here? There's so much that can happen, but of course we just have to wait till Backlash to see what goes on. But ladies and gentlemen, that marks the end for Fast Track today. Listen, if you guys want to go ahead and keep up with more of the social media news and updates, all you have to do is just go ahead and go right down here on Instagram at Saturday Afternoons _main event and on Twitter at Saturday Main. Listen, guys, we appreciate you guys. Even those that have come in, if you're a first-time viewer, we appreciate you. If you're not new, welcome back. We always go ahead and do this every Saturday at noon. We're here to give you laughs, good times, and all the wrestling news possible. But look, before we go ahead and get into the big topic for today, we will go ahead and get into a quick break. And from there, we will go into our questions, and then we will go into our final topic, which is called AEW Wants More Cults of Personality. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. Do not go anywhere, because the second half of Saturday Afternoon's Main Event is coming up next. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to the second half of Saturday Afternoon's Main Event. Of course, it's the phenomenal one. Right by my side is Mr. Peeps Nate. Once again, as I said, we're here to give you laughs, good times, and all the wrestling news possible. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into our questions. First one of the day comes from Dr. of Thugonomics, and he says, day 14 of realizing Roman is hitting 1,000 days, and day 984 of Adam Cole not being world champion. Someone get Arn Anderson on the phone so he can come put me out my misery. Peeps, we do have to say, Dr. of Thugonomics has been going through it.
Yes, he has.
You're not alone, bud. You're not alone.
Yes,
You are not alone. Oh gosh.
Yes.
Oh gosh. Tombstone City Adams says this. I jump off the rope, I feel like Jeff Hardy. Nice way to quote Playboy Cardi, man. I have to say, this is something. This is something.
Yes.
Peeps, I mean, you know, it looks like everybody's being happy that Jeff is back. That's great. That is great. That is great. Thank you for that one, man. Next one comes from Master Sean 007. Sean, how you doing, man? We appreciate you. He says this. Greetings, gentlemen. I was wondering if the two of you have the power to stop weekly face heel turns. There was a time where it actually meant something, but now it's like whatever. It's just lazy booking, it seems. Peeps.
That is a great observation, and this is something that I've had conversations with other people over the last few months. This is something that happens way too often. On a whim, you build somebody, bring them up, and then all of a sudden they're a heel. Oh, wouldn't it? And then something. Oh, he's a face again. Oh, let's bring him back. Oh, he's a heel. Oh, now he's a face again. Okay. Here's the issue with that. When you build something for a turn, this is the Vince McMahon philosophy, and it usually happens when you see somebody form a tag team. I'll give you a perfect example. I'm going to go back into the way back since I am Jurassic, and I'll show you how Jurassic I am.
Look what you did, Taekwon. Oh,
yes.
God.
I will go back into the Hulk Hogan, Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff angle. The reason why I say that is Hogan, with his huge run, he had only been WWF champ for 2 years at the time. And then Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff had turned face after a long heel run with his teaming with Roddy Piper. They separately had their own thing going as faces until they decided to kind of unite them as friends. And they were a tag team for quite some time. They had each other's backs. Then they got a chance against King Kong Bundy and John Studd. And they were building this whole thing as a storyline on television that Orndorff was being called out and said, oh, you can't do anything without your partner. You're a junior Hogan. Can't you do anything on your own? So Hogan had a tag match with Orndorff against a couple of jobbers. Hogan let Orndorff get in the ring, and Orndorff's idea was to show everybody how great I am without tagging Hogan. And he went the entire match without tagging Hogan. And he did all of his moves. He did the pile driver and got the win. And then they go ahead and do that. The following week, they decide we're going to have Stud and Bundy, and we're going to have them in a tag match on TV. But Orndorff can't find Hogan because he's trying to get a hold of him. Oh, he's in the gym. Like, I can't find him. Let's get into the tag match. They get into the tag match, and it's a jealousy thing because Heenan had started to plant the little seeds of doubt in Orndorff's head that, you know, Hogan is an egomaniac, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then, of course, as we all know how that match progressed, Hogan got beat up. They won the match by DQ. Orndorff saves Hogan after he takes a beating, picks him up, raises his hand, clotheslines Hogan, pile drive heard around the world, big heel turn. That's how you build a heel turn. And today's wrestling, a heel turn can go just like that. Mm-hmm. And it happens way too often when there's no psychology behind it, there's no common sense behind it, there's no story behind it, there's no it just no rhyme or reason. And I think we could pull examples on either side where a turn made sense and a turn didn't make sense, a turn that was a slow build, and a turn that happened so quick. We can talk terms of double turns, where one turned heel and one turned face in sometimes the same match. Go to WrestleMania 13 with Bret Hart and Steve Austin. Now, Austin, if you really want to call it a face turn, because let's really be honest, he wrestled the same way, face or heel. He was literally the same thing. It's just the fans cheered him so much. But it was more shocking that Bret turned heel in that same dynamic by beating Austin senseless and leaving the ring. They make sense when done right, but it's overdone. It's a cliche now. Oh, Trish just turned heel. Well, where did that come from? My partner and I, when we text, we can see something, as he alluded to a little earlier. It's like, yeah, this is the turn that's going to happen. We can telegraph it from 15 feet away. Something is going to happen.
In the words of Triple H, we're just that damn good.
Yes, exactly. So there has to be some sense to it. The other one, and this kind of actually goes into what happened with Brock and how he turned on Cody. And if you think about this, my only problem with the way it happened is instead of how it happened, why couldn't they have had a match, an actual match? Because it was supposed to be a tag match and have them wrestle at least 5 minutes. Instead, they get in the ring. They didn't even ring the bell. And next thing you know, Cody's F5, and then the beating happened. And if they had just literally had a 5-minute encounter where they were teaming up to get the fans in, and it's like, well, obviously it was a shock that Brock turned, but it would have been even more of a shock if they showed teamwork in the match.
You know what they could have done? Easiest way to go about it. Let them have a match 15, 20 minutes just to end the show, because it wasn't like there was any really any crazy matches. There wasn't the biggest match was like less than 5 minutes.
Yes.
Okay, so we could have had a good 20-minute match. Let Cody build some type of chemistry, and have what happened the night before with Paul going ahead and probably distracting the ref. Lesnar and Roman probably going at it on the outside. Roman probably spears him. Roman goes back into the ring. He's the legal one. Cody goes ahead, about to hit the crossroads. Solo comes out of nowhere. Samoan spike again. Roman hits the spear. 1, 2, 3. End of night, they leave. Brock goes back in, picks Cody up, holds his hand up, kind of gives him a pat on the back. Roman's already backstage, whatever the case may be. Brock seems like he's, walking out of the ring, turns back, F5. You know how good that would have been?
Yes.
I mean,
or as Cody goes back up the aisle, and he does this whoa when they get to his part, and as he does that, Brock comes out, F5s him right on the stage. What did he do that for? Where does that come from? And then commenced to beat on him, ragdoll him on the stage, throw him into the crowd, throw him off the set, whatever they did, minus the excessive beating that he got, because that was 10 minutes worth of a beating, and nobody helped him. And as I said before,
and then Brock getting the company to issue out an apology by giving the 2 fingers of doom.
Exactly. Now, what they could have done is they gave no explanation as to why he got no help. They could have shown somebody beat up the tag team champions, Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Somebody locked them into the dressing room, or what happened on SmackDown when the ankle was messed up. They could have done a multitude of things that would have tied into why all of this happened. And Paul Heyman is a genius in certain things, in selling. And my last point in this, and this is just an aside, and this is a mini rant. Who is teaching these referees in both WWE and AEW how to referee? Because the lack of believability with these referees, it's irking me. Because
Aubrey Edwards, from a sense,
what? Okay, let's go to WrestleMania and talk just for a brief idea. If the referee has the ultimate power to throw people out of a match, like he did with Solo, okay, fine. Solo's gone for the match. He still showed up to interfere and cost Cody the match. Now, as I proposed last week, that could have been explained by Triple H saying that I'm the reason why all of this stuff happened, et cetera, et cetera. But let's assume that that's not the case. Let's talk about the refereeing this week, where Solo and everybody else got thrown out from ringside during Matt Riddle's match on SmackDown. And between him and Solo, throw everybody out. They still came back. So what power does a referee have to throw people out if they can just come back at will and still interfere and distract? Because the distraction was there for them outside the ring, only for the distraction to work in Solo's favor. They have to do something to make the refereeing much more believable, because we have lost the art of what refereeing was supposed to be, of the days of Tommy Young and the days of the Hebners and the Tim Whites and a lot of these other referees that we all know and have seen over the years, the Nick Patricks of the world, we don't see those kinds of referees anymore because they don't really care. They don't use them in the right way, in the right light. And it takes away from the believability of what's going on in the ring. That's my mini rant.
I see, peeps. Look what Taquan says. He says, y'all want Cody to get Rodney King. And for Solo's sense, he put a hoodie on at Mania, so he was unidentifiable. Oh, so you're telling me he pulled a John Cena? This is exactly what you're telling me. Peeps, look, at the end of the day, I still feel like that whole match at Mania was a good peeps. You're telling me that as a referee, you dismiss a guy from ringside, come back, count the pin, and somehow, unimaginably, poof, he's already in the ring.
Yeah.
Right after you go ahead and make the pin. So you're telling me it's okay. So you're not going to question, wait, where did he come from? Didn't I, where's the logic? Where is the logic?
Oh, wait a minute. They're supposed to employ logic in pro wrestling? Huh? Oh my goodness. I'm stunned. I never knew that actually existed. But I digress.
Fourth one. There we go. Hot Rod says this as his question, so I'll go ahead and I'll display before the last one of today.
Okay.
Rodney says, if Edge does go to AEW, would that be a good move for his career?
Ain't gonna happen. Plain and simple. It almost did, but it ain't gonna happen. I think Edge is smart enough to know that would not make any sense for him. At his age right now, at 47, and the WWE literally giving him and his wife everything that they needed or could ever want in WWE, I can't see it. What is your honest opinion, and what do you think if this did happen? What do you think would
happen? If this did happen, peeps, I never really thought
give
about
him
it.
give him two scenarios. If Edge did go, what would they do? And if he stayed in WWE, what would they do with him going forward?
Peeps. For me, I've said this. If this is really Edge's last year, as he's been trying to allude to, then I thought that, okay, maybe, have Cena go ahead, win the US title, and have that be like Edge's last feud, just to give it back to the Ruthless Aggression era people. Us as fans, we've literally seen that rivalry culminate so many different ways. Of course, from the SummerSlam match to the TLC match at Edge's hometown and at Unforgiven in, I believe, 05, 06?
Yes.
We've literally seen that feud so many times. So to go ahead and, give back to the dying breed of a generation, Edge, Cena, US title, I would have been okay with that. Of course, that's not what they were going to go ahead and go into, but I feel that Edge and Cena have been so much of that trademarker. It's Austin Rock all over again. If Edge wants to go and he wants to leave on his own terms, off his own back, then Cena will be the guy that it has to happen to. I wouldn't really say the future because, Edge has literally supplied the future with so much that I don't think that there's most to go ahead and give back to. This is literally just for him. Now, if he went to AEW, no singles run. Please, no singles run. No. If he wanted to go, you know what I want from him? I want Gangrel there. I want fire. And give me 5-second poses.
Yeah, because Christian's already still there.
Exactly. So, pair him with Christian, Unholy Trinity, Brood. I don't care what you do. Let them go ahead and work their magic for one last cool run. They want to get the AEW tag titles, they can do that. Whatever that entails, just put them with Christian. I don't want no singles run out of that. No.
You got one thing to think about, though. What do you do with the Dinosaur Man? What do you do with Luchasaurus? Do you add him, make him dark? Do you exclude him? Do you have the Brood come out there and beat Luchasaurus up and say, we don't need a quote-unquote second-hand guy because we got the original Brood? We have whatever they would want to call them, because WWE probably has a trademark on that. Yep. So they would come up with some other cool name, but it is what it is,
Yeah, just don't. And the Hardys are there, so why not? You see, Taekwon, there you go. Edge and Christian versus the Hardys in a Life Alert ladder match.
Oh boy.
I love our fans.
Let's check the beats per minute right about now.
You got the blood pressure monitor too, peeps? Or please
right there. There you go.
Help. Jeff Hardy, after committing a swanton bomb off the ladder into Edge off the off ringside. Help, I've fallen and I can't get up. Let's not.
As a matter of fact, that's what I have right now on my watch. There you go. Beats per minute.
I can't. Peeps, you're really checking it. I can't.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord. But from there, listen, Hot Rod, thank you for that question, man.
Yes.
Last one comes from Long Island Isaiah. He says, not going to lie, this statement might get me killed, but I want the titles on the Usos again. Actually, I don't think it would get you killed. Peeps, if I'm being honest, Sammy and KO, for the benefit of the story, I'm glad that they won. But I feel that the Usos really showed who ran the tag team division, in which I feel that they need to take them back. Sammy and KO only work for the benefit of the story. Like, what are they doing with them after the story? You know
the reason why the Usos benefited so much? They don't have any tag teams. That's the problem. They don't. Triple H treats tag team wrestling the way it should be treated. And where else could you think? I want you to think about this. There has never been, in the 39 years of WrestleMania, have they ever had a tag team championship match as a main event on any part of WrestleMania. Ever. We're talking 4 decades now of WrestleManias. We had a main event tag team match for WrestleMania, the first one, but there were no championships involved in that.
Exactly.
But as a main event, that's to show you how important the storyline was to bookend WrestleMania's night 1 and night 2. The problem is, even though the Usos had so many really, really good tag team matches in that 2-year run being tag team champs, there are still a small amount of tag teams. There is a dearth of tag teams out there that if you're going to look and say, oh, we've got this tag team, we've got that tag team. I alluded to probably about a month ago, we talked about what WCW used to do, which is what I said that AEW should be doing with their championships, which is before we go to a commercial, here are the top tag teams or here are the top contenders for, and then kind of push that. WWE, they book people in. You stepped on my foot. I want a title match. Okay, Adam Pearce, get a referee in here. We're going to book it. And not only will they book the match is the main event of the show. How does that happen? That's the problem. You don't have enough believability in the fact that the wins and losses mean enough. Exactly. And they only mean enough if they're doing a storyline with a bigger picture outside of those championships. Because the championships are almost like a means to an end. They are not the reason why the story exists. Unless you have a dedicated tag team that you're going to put the belts on, like the Usos. For the Usos, that is the ends to the means, because as a tag team, that's their whole existence in WWE. Oh, it just so happens they're part of the bloodline. Mm-hmm. But the tag teams that are there is no storyline push for those. When we talked about this with the singles championships, when Roman got unified of both belts, there was a storyline for the United States Championship. There's a storyline for the Intercontinental Championship. There was, to a small degree, a storyline for the Women's Tag Team Championship. That's how you book the importance of those belts. But if the Usos are the champs, who are they going to face? There are no other tag teams. So I think for right now, what they should do is try to establish Sammy and KO and see what they can do as a tag team instead of the old Vince McMahon route of, well, they're the tag team champs, but they're going to be in singles matches every other week. Why? They're the tag team champs. Put them in tag team matches. They may not necessarily be title defenses every week, but put them in a match with a tag team to show you that they're the best tag team in the company. They don't do that. They didn't do it with the Usos for a good chunk of time. Although there was a span where they were almost defending the belts every other week.
Yeah.
But you know they were a tag team. Where are the rest of the tag teams?
I digress.
There's number 5.
Mm-hmm. Second says, I just want to see KO and Sammy versus DIY. You're in for luck, my friend. Like that's ever going to happen. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, guys, look. That marks the end for our questions.
Great questions, by the way.
I mean, man, you guys had them intriguing today. I mean, they were intriguing. I loved them. If you want to continue to send more, and if you're new and you haven't sent a question yet, and you want to send a question, you want it to be on the show, and you want it to be answered by Peeps Nate and I, all you got to do is just go ahead and DM us on Instagram at Saturday Afternoons _main event, or on Twitter at Saturday Main. DM us a question. It'll be featured on the next episode of the show, guys. So most definitely, we'll wait on it. But from there, we now go ahead and get into the last topic. Look in my eyes. What do you see? Tony Khan taking loads of angel dust. That's what I see. You know,
exactly I thought you were going to say something completely different, but I'm going to leave that one alone.
Nah. Oh man. But guys. Within the past, how long has it been, Peeps? 8 months? So since last August, we had issues with AEW regarding a medium scrum between EVPs, lousy EVPs, if I may add, that can't run a target. Mm-hmm. We had issues with AEW involving a fight that a dog even got included into. God bless Larry. This is so funny to me. I can't.
Yeah.
Someone had their hair pulled. Someone got bitten. Someone got a RVD Sabu computer chair just thrown straight into their face.
It sounds like a bad Saturday Night Live skit. It sounds like a cold open of a parody of a wrestling argument. That's exactly what it sounds like.
I mean, doesn't it? Doesn't it really? But within all of that, the EVPs are back. Some people got fired, but one person that we have been waiting on a response from has been the one, the only former 2-time AEW champion.
Yes.
CM Punk.
Yes.
He stayed silent, hasn't said a word, nothing. But surprisingly so, as reported by the Wrestling Observer, which I sometimes feel as if isn't really trusted, Dave Meltzer. Or
Yes.
Fightful, if you do like to go ahead and listen to the things Sean Sapp does say, because I mean, I do as well. AEW has plans. Hear me out here, okay, guys? AEW has plans for CM Punk to go ahead and make his return. Peeps, the same CM Punk that ranked and scatted on the company?
Yes.
The same CM Punk who bashed Jon Moxley in a cryptic Instagram story literally 3 to 4 weeks ago?
Yes.
The same CM Punk who left the Ring of Honor and wanted to be an a-hole by signing his WWE contract on the Ring of Honor World title just because he felt as if he wasn't being treated correctly at Ring of Honor.
Yes.
The same man that left WWE because he felt as if he was never going to get the main event of WrestleMania. Although, if I can add, he really did get the main event of WrestleMania by being a caddy for John Cena during his entrance. So how are you going to tell me that he wasn't the peeps? I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Boy, I tell you.
That was uncalled for. I know.
Yes, that was the lowest of low blows, man.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me get back into motion.
Okay.
But guys, there's a trend here. And as much as I love CM Punk, I just feel as if all of this is just all uncalled for, unneeded. Like, why? Why? As much as I love Punk and I would love to see him back, why just retire. Get out of it. You're washed. You're done. You're not worth anything anymore. Peeps, you're telling me that CM Punk in this day and age, 2023, look, you went to the mountaintop in another company. You literally main evented their flagship pay-per-view event. You've literally done what you needed to do. Why do you want to come back and pursue something that probably isn't there? Because one, we already know AEW fans are literally like, what can I say to this? Okay, let me put it like this. AEW fans make up 97% of the IWC. Obnoxious, lousy, rude, and just plain disrespectful. They are like the New York Knicks fans of professional wrestling. And I'm a Knicks fan. I should tell you that, okay? When we want to go ahead and let down on our team, we will let down on our team.
Oh yeah.
When we want to badmouth our team, we will badmouth our team. Ask Peeps. Peeps has badmouthed the Brooklyn Cyclones for more than 20-something years. That has not stopped, okay?
Yes.
Let's put it that way. Guys, what I'm trying to say here is that there's no need for any of this. Because if I recalled, a couple of weeks back when I reported that CM Punk literally said that he said that Meltzer's a Scrooge, Jericho's a Scrooge, Moxie's a Scrooge.
Yes.
They're holds. I will never put a company above my health ever again. But
And
somehow
that was just within the last month. So it's not like this was something that happened 3-4 months ago. This was recent.
this is recent. So how do you go from that to now saying that okay, there's chances that I'm coming back, and not only are you coming back, the same person who you called a Scrooge and an a-hole had a meeting with you,
Yes.
or is planning to have a meeting with you, and Chris Jericho. You're kidding
Yes.
me, right?
To bury the hatch. Bury the hatchet.
What
Bury
type
the
of
hatchet.
hat? Peeps, does it look like I'll ever bury a hat? Peeps, if it comes down to something like that, if somebody were to call me an a-hole and blaster it all over social media,
Yes.
me have a meeting. I'm not even looking at you. I'm not sitting in the same room as you. I'm not giving you the time of day, morning, night. Look, no, it's not happening. Why? Why do you want to put yourself in a predicament like this? As much as I would want to be Chris Jericho, I would decline that quickly because why? Why? Punk is toxic, and as much as I've said it before. And I've kind of felt like, okay, he's the voice of the voiceless. He has a reason to be mad because if they're doing this and they're doing that, he has a reason. But wow, I would never think that I would see the day that a 40-plus-year-old Punk is being hypocritical and two-faced. You just badmouthed the guy literally within the span of 30 days. And now you're going ahead and you're sitting in a meet. And not only are you trying to bury the hatchet, there are reports going out that says there may be talks that they wanted to start a feud together when Punk comes back. You're kidding me, right? Peeps. ¿Qué tal? ¿Qué lo que? Why? You're kidding me, right?
Yes.
Peeps. You know what?
Yes.
Before I say anything that will go over these airways and have you guys lose me as a host, and then once again have me lose you guys as fans of Saturday Afternoon's Main Event, I'm going to go ahead and refer this to Peeps because I am this close to losing my sanity. The floor is yours because I'm.
Yes. I can tell that this kind of hit a nerve.
Mm-hmm.
And the person that is at the center of this, it's twofold. It's more of a tandem. I'm going to say that 45% of this is going to be at the behest of Tony Khan. And the reason why I say that is, and I've said this before, and I will say this again, and I will say it again until he proves me wrong. Tony Khan is a huge wrestling fan, a big mark for the business, and because he now has the money, sustainability, and a place to show his product, the deal with Warner Brothers Discovery, and 2 weekly shows on terrestrial cable television that are terrestrial. Although it is worldwide, people can see it elsewhere depending on where they are. But over the air on cable television and satellite providers, you can watch AEW and you've got 3 hours of that programming. Now, mind you, we're not even talking about Dark and Dark Elevation and that rumored 3rd hour of TV show that they want to bring out at some point, which I have ideas about, but I'll parse that to the side. So 45% of this blame of what's going on with this is Tony Khan. And the reason why is because he's letting the inmates run the asylum in a big fashion. We saw when the suspensions went out after the Brawl Out deal, who he sided with. Mm-hmm. Although he took the World Trios Tag Team Championships off of the Elite, the 3 EVPs that were left after Cody left the company, we know where the dynamic went back to. I don't know what kind of discussions were had afterwards, after the investigation and all of the interviews, etc. All we know of is that Ace Steel was fired, very close friend of CM Punk's, and another trainer who has trained other various professional wrestlers also. But at the same time, we know that Tony Khan, the buck stops with him. If anything is going to happen in that company, it has to go to him. and he has to either approve or disapprove of any progress going forward. So we'll put that to the side. The rest of the blame for this is going to go on Charles Montgomery Punk. And the reason why I say that is, as we've talked about, as you just so eloquently stated, CM Punk can be a very acerbic individual. He can be very aloof sometimes. He's admitted it himself in interviews on AEW television. I'm trying to be a good guy. That doesn't necessarily mean I am, but I'm trying. He knows that he has a certain feeling about the way the business is and a certain feeling about himself and how wrestling should be done. The other thing that CM Punk knows, and this is something that I think Tony Khan knows, which is why I say he gets 45% of this blame, is because he knows that CM Punk equals ratings. And I find it interesting that CM Punk potentially could come back. It seems like he's healed from his tricep injury that he tore when he won back the world title. And he's healed up and healthy, and he's ready to start.
Well, I mean, he didn't injure it during the world title match. Let's be for real here.
Yes. He injured it. I'm celebrating at a tag match I'm trying to. I'm going to move that to the side. I don't want to go.
Well, I guess you could. Well, peeps, I guess you could say he wasn't a man of steel, unlike his tag team partner.
No, he wasn't. And I see what you did there.
Oh man.
But from what I see, and this is from what I've heard as a potential rumor, is that CM Punk could potentially come back in June. And I believe the date is June 3rd. I think that's the date. I know I believe it's a Wednesday in June. Now, obviously, this is just through the grapevine. But the date that's there is in Chicago. What a coinky dink.
Yeah.
At the same time, we know that if anything happens, you've got Forbidden Door if he comes back around that time as the pay-per-view then. You also have this looming Wembley Stadium show where the potential of that same feud that is being bounced around in circles that can't be confirmed, it may be confirmed, and maybe we don't know if it's going to happen or not, may actually happen there. You're going to tell me that if you have a chance to bring CM Punk back and you have a chance to put him and FTR versus the Elite, whether or not there's any championships involved in it or not, because I don't think it is, but that would be interesting if it was, and don't have that kind of match with that kind of build where you have a built-in drama of what happened in the back and build that over into a storyline Eric Bischoff-like, where you take the real-life strife, yes, the real-life strife and chaos and angst and turmoil, and you turn it into a storyline and make money off of it. That it wouldn't work? Of course it would work. But the problem is the same problem that both of us have, and it's with CM Punk and his perceived lack of... There's a word that I'm looking for, and it describes basically the way CM Punk is perceived by not only the world in overall, but also how he is perceived among his colleagues, among the other wrestlers that have been around him. And we've heard as many people defend CM Punk, and then we've had just as many people tear CM Punk down. I think what's going to happen is if this is legit, if this is going to happen, because he's still under contract, it's not like, oh, he would have been fired. If that was the case, he would have been fired a long time ago. But he's still under contract. If this is what's going to actually happen, then they have to get something along the lines of getting a storyline started where it works for everybody, and that we also know that they can use some of that real life scat and turn it into television scat, which will then become gold if they can do that. And this Wembley Stadium show, which is can potentially get you 93, 94,000 fans in attendance. And from what I've heard, I believe the pre-sale started. They've already got 20,000 or 25,000 tickets sold already. So they are ready for that show.
Mm-hmm.
In England, at Wembley, with a bunch of hungry wrestling fans that love CM Punk and love the Elite and love FTR, and you build this up the right way, it would work. But that's on a practical sense. On a personal, professional level, as far as what happened in the locker room. What happened after, CM Punk ran down Colt Cabana like it was nothing. CM Punk ran down Adam Page like it was nothing.
Of course.
And did Adam Page deserve what he got? Maybe privately, but not in front of all of these people, because it was an unprovoked attack. It just came out of nowhere. He looked for a reason to just espouse all of this anger that he had and vitriol that he'd been sitting on. So if you're going to look at it from that standpoint, that is going to turn a lot of people off.
Of course.
But it's a matter of how do you turn chicken manure and turn it into chicken salad. And I think this is what they're trying to do to save face, because if CM Punk is gone from the company, in a company whose television program ranges from 750,000 to 1.1 million on average, between an average good show to an average really good show, and on the low end, based on NBA, NHL playoffs, etc., other programming, can dip as low as 400,000. They need an infusion of eyeballs. And what they need to do is improve the product and get it to that point. And I think that's what they're trying to do if this is indeed going to happen.
All right. So, peeps, what's your dream match? So your dream match is Punk and FTR versus the Elite. That's what it is.
I would really love to see that, but I would also love to see Omega versus Punk.
Peeps, what are you really trying to go ahead and create Montreal 97 again? Peeps, are you really trying to create Edge versus Matt Hardy 2005?
Like I said, personally, if there is that much animosity between the two of them and it can't work, you keep them as far away as possible, because this can go sour very quick. But if they can get on the same page somehow, I've seen wrestlers who have hated each other's guts and have made it work, get in the ring to make money, especially if you tell them you're going to perform in front of 90,000 fans in another country, by the way, that is going to be seen worldwide. I think some people might be able to put their personal animus aside, where they know they can make a financial windfall for themselves and the company. It could be done. The question is, will Charles Montgomery allow it to happen? Will Tony Khan allow it to happen? And more importantly, will the Elite get off of their own egos and allow this to happen?
A really good question, Peeps. But you know what we're gonna do? We will find out on the next episode of Media Scrums and Beating Bums on the world of AEW, ladies and gentlemen.
The only thing we need is an hourglass for Days of Our Lives. No Stefano Demira. No Devil. No Marlena will be mine. No Marlena.
You know what? At this point, we'll just get Sonny Corinthos from General Hospital and call it a day. How about that?
I understand. Yes.
But from there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, that marks the end of this episode 13 of Saturday Afternoon's Main Event. We thank you guys for going ahead and tuning in today.
Yes.
We greatly appreciate everything that you guys have done. Of course, just being here to the questions, just being all in. If I may say.
I see what you did there.
Of course. But guys, thank you. We will go ahead and reconvene here once again next week for episode 14. But it is with that me, the phenomenal one, and my co-host, the Peeps Nate here on Saturday afternoon's main event. We came.
We saw.
And in the words of the wise man, the one and only walrus, Paul Heyman,
we conquered.
We conquered, ladies and gentlemen. See you next week for episode 14. Peeps Nate, phenomenal one. Peace, love, farewell.